No, so hello. I'll start officially talking here in a second. I'm just getting ready. There we go. Now I'll be able to see chat. Um. Hey. I don't need to hear myself. I can already hear myself. Okay, there we go. And boop, boop. Hey, thanks for the like. Welcome to Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. I'm here, the shadows, and I'm bringing them. Which is funny because I'm playing my white mage. But don't mind that. The important thing is, I'm here. I was expecting to be here before the expansion, like, nowhere's close, but finished Stormblood relatively quick. So this is my highest level character, my red mage is, and highest gear score. Already level 75, so they're well on their way to becoming max level. Holy crap! I didn't even notice. Look next to my name. I didn't do that, by the way. But the sprout next to my name is gone. I'm no longer a sprout. That took longer than it should have. Like, holy crap. Ooh, look at this person. Get back here. Get back here so I can look at you. Level 78. Alright, so I have just started Stormblood. Not Stormblood, sorry. Shadowbringers. This is the intro. I did do a little bit in terms of getting here, but pretty much this is like the first quest that you get while you're here. And spoilers. A lot of big spoilers. This is the latest expansion at the moment. Soon to not be. In less than a month. Or maybe a month. I'm not sure if it's supposed Endwalker's supposed to release early or late next month. I think it's supposed to be... Well, honestly, I just don't know, so I'm not going to hazard a guess. Anyways. This is it. This is like very late game. Okay, so now that that's said, lots of spoilers. I'm trying to find things. I don't know why I ran over here. I want to focus on getting these crystals, because getting the crystals helps you teleport around a lot easier. You get places. So, basically, at the end of Stormblood, my friends were having their souls just like plucked from their bodies. Very terrifying stuff. We didn't know what was happening, besides the fact that they were being summoned somewhere. And I kept resisting, and I was the last one of my friends. But eventually, all the souls got plucked one by one, including mine. But the guy's like, well, I'm just telling you, like, I need you soon, but not right now. You have to do something, so go back. So he threw me back, and then I found a thing, and that brought me here. I am now in another world. This is known as the first world out of like all of them, and it's currently dying because of the light. Yes. The light is evil, which is a nice twist in a way. I still think it's a little bit too black and white. Well, I guess realistically it isn't, because it's the whole thing. The light isn't always good. The light can also cause harm. And it's about having that balance. The way that the conflict plays out, I guess, is still... It's not as childish, for lack of a better term. You know, it's not just like, oh, the light's good, the shadows is bad. But it's still pretty much those mentalities. Like, the darkness represents the, well, like, shadows and things. Maybe there is more to it. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. But the way it's been presented is like the shadows are evil, and you have the Asians, and they're all about destroying worlds and stuff. But it just turns out that that's sort of a good thing. The way they're going about it is not But really you have to have a balance between light and dark, because even too much light will tear the world apart. It's hard to find these things, excuse me. But yeah, there you go. So I am now in another world. I want to become a warrior of darkness, which I guess is kind of a spoiler at this point, but not really. It's very foreshadowed, where we're talking about warriors of darkness, and the warriors of darkness were literally warriors of light, like me, from another world. And that's it. They go to another world because their world's about to be destroyed, and then they fight for the darkness because the light will consume. And that is what's happening to this place. So you notice it's very bright and sunshiny, and it always is. It's been this way for 100 years, where even in the middle of the night, it will stay just this bright light. And there's these creatures they called Sin Eaters. Think Heartless from another Square Enix game. Whatever it's called, Kingdom Hearts. Oh, interrupted that. Oh, that guy's dressed up like the people from the plains. I like it. I want to clap for him. How do I clap? Over here. And there you go. Nice outfit. Ooh, they got a little bird too. I want to pet it. Probably nothing will happen, but sometimes stuff does. Does anything happen if I pet my pelico? I think I've done this before and nothing. Oh, they licked their arm. Cool. What about if I beckon you? Prepare to be beckoned. Ran away, ran off the cliff. Wow. It's like, no, you can't call me. I dislike this so much, I'm just going to jump off a cliff. I'll do that too. It's not letting me. I don't think you can't go down there. I think I have to run across this, but I don't know how. Maybe it can go down, around. This is like my first time here. I literally got to this town, and that's it. So the guy who summoned me is like, go run around town for a minute, and then we'll talk and we'll do things. Which makes sense. I mean, I am in a completely different world. When I told the person, like, who's guarding the gate, like, hey, this is where I'm from, they're like, you lying piece of crap. They didn't believe me even though I was telling the truth. Oh, crap. I'm fine. Oh, look, Aether Crystal. Ether Crystal. They sort of silent. Oh, excuse me. I wanna look at you. Examine. You're a level 70 chef. That is impressive. Yeah. Some people like those cooking jobs a lot. Oh my god, it's the things, but they're furry. They're furries. Okay, so there's this race like the Magi or something like that. Way back. And A Realm Reborn. Gosh, A Realm Reborn feels like forever ago. I will say one thing about this game. I mean, it's an MMO, so it's pretty long. But even for an MMO, it's very long. But that's because it has several expansions under its belt. But it definitely feels a bit like the old school games. Like old school JRPGs where you have this like really grand adventure. Okay. I'm gonna die. Oh god, that was scary. It's a good thing I can heal. But yes. So, honestly, this is one of my more favorite JRPGs. And yes, I know it's a MMO. It's like a JRPG MMO. Quite literally. I don't know how to navigate to this place, and it's starting to irritate me. I just want to do things. I want to look cool in front of YouTube. Actually, I think I look very cool. Red Mage is all about style. Like, when I first heard about Red Mage and started playing, I'm like, I don't know about the whole swashbuckler thing. As a mage, like, it would be cool as a rogue, but as a mage, it's this... I don't know about it. But now I'm like, heck yeah, they're all style and flair. You got magic, you pew 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 pew, and then occasionally you sweep in, you use your rapier, pew, 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 and you turn your rapier into a staff? Like, heck yeah. I don't know how to go anywhere. Okay. Can I go in here? Heck yeah. There's a thing here, let's do that. There's Antibert. Yeah. So, a lot of people theorize because you can teleport to other worlds. Well, not a lot of people. I did hear a person say it would be nice, since you're jumping between worlds, if you could actually go to worlds from other Final Fantasy games. And I think that would be kind of neat, but I don't think that's the direction they're going to go with their expansions. It's just not the feeling I'm getting from Endwalker. Here we go. Which is fine, especially since they do have like collaboration events where they like well, collaboration isn't the right word, because collaboration is between different franchises, which they do have those. They also have like, what is it, when shows up briefly. Cameo. They have cameos from like their other games. Like Final Fantasy 15, I got the car from that, but they also have things from like Final Fantasy 9 and things. There you go, I moved it towards my face, sorry if that made a sound. Okay. I called this calamity the Flood of Light. So this is talking about how the light, when left unchecked, will destroy. Which is interesting. The Oracle Light, she stood fixed. In power did she stay the flood. 'Twas Navarant. I didn't actually finish reading that. But I can look at the stream since it's a second behind. It's great. So, I mean, I know I was kind of picking on this, saying, I am going to be the darkness. Oh, sorry, darkness. I don't know what I think. I still think it's a little bit too cliche. Cool, so now I learned about the Flood of Light. So I still think it's a bit too cliche. And it's not quite lines of gray. It's still like light, dark, good, evil. It's just that they both have aspects of those things, but it's not quite at a point where it's like breaking stereotypes. But that said, this is also an Eastern franchise, and the Eastern mindset is a little bit different from the West. I feel like that's a part of the reason why these stories come into play. So let's look at Japan specifically. And in Japanese mythology, I like how I'm speaking like I'm a complete expert. I'm not. I know a thing or two, but there's obviously people that will know more. Anyways, in Japanese mythology, the gods, the kami themselves, have two aspects at least. So they have, I forget the actual names, but they have their more pleasant aspect where they will be benevolent and help humanity, and then they have the more negative aspect where they will destroy. So it's a little bit like having a good and evil side, but a little bit more nuanced than that. But that's reflected in this, where you have a thing, but it's not all one or the other. So it's a little bit more nuanced than Western mythos, which is the light is good. Or in other words, you do have good or evil. You have the righteous and the unrighteous. And life should be about seeking the righteous versus the unrighteous. Whereas in, say, something like Japanese mythos, even the things that are righteous will be unrighteous at certain respects. It's less about that as much as it is... I don't know. I'm trying to think of how to describe it. Can internalize it better than I can describe it. But I'm really hating the fact that I can't get this frickin' crystal up here. This place is confusing me. But so do most places when I first go there. I'll figure it out in time. But, okay, I guess it's better described in, say, looking at things like redemption arcs. And like Eastern tales, the villains will often become heroes. So I say often, but that's also in quotation marks. Bad guys aren't the bad guys. They're just bad at that time. So there's like an arc from Howl's Moving Castle, which obviously is a spoiler for Howl's Moving Castle. But in Howl's Moving Castle, you have a witch that curses a girl. And later on in the story, they later have the witch just running around with them. Even though this witch will steal, like, do not nice things, occasionally. It's not like she's completely changed, but as the story goes on, she's less and less about of, well, no. It's hard to describe. To my friend, he's like, what the heck? They should just kick this person out. She's obviously up to no good and won't ever change. But it's just like a different mindset where it's like, she's not inherently evil. That's what I'm trying to get at. And like Western mythos, you have inherently good or evil. And something that's inherently evil will not become inherently good. And exceptions like the redemption arc often ends with the person dying, because for one, they have to atone for their sins, but also it's like that act of redeeming is like the final thing. So there is some redemption possible. It's just different. Wow, I'm explaining this so well. But yeah, it's just different in the sense like usually doesn't happen. It can, but it's very much like you're good or evil at that time. And people are usually inherently evil. I already got that one. Let's see. So I got that one. let's see the ones that I've gotten. I have the Crystarium, Timinius Rookery, the Docile Gate, the Crystalline Mean, the Cabinet of Curiosity. So I have that one. I have that one. I have that one. Sorry. Timinius Rookery. Have that one. I have to get that one. And the Penance. Got it. Probably should teleport to the Christian. Well, there's a thing here. Let's try to get this thing here. So... yeah, I guess like the big difference is like in Western mythos the person themselves would have to be redeemed because it is them who is good or evil. Whereas in like Eastern, it's more that they have to redeem their actions because them themselves are not evil. It's just at any given time we will exhibit less conducive qualities to like everyone else and more conducive to everyone else, or for lack of better terms, good qualities versus bad qualities. But yeah, it is very striking in Howl's Moving Castle because they just accept her with open arms, despite the fact that she hasn't completely changed. But it's like, no, you're part of the group. And there is this whole arc at the end of Stormblood in this game that involved having villains becoming heroes. Well, not heroes per se, as much as they were... well, they were redeeming their past actions, and they were being looked at in a more sympathetic light, and being more on... yeah, we were liking them more. They were more protagonists. One kind of flip-flop back, but that just made her more of a tragedy. It's very sad. And at that point you're like, no, please just stop. This could have been fixed, but it just, there was too much anger in her to ultimately fix. But there is a point in the story where you're like, she's just going to become good. She's just going to be fixed and then everything hunky-dory. But no. I have not been reading anything that this person has said. She's talking about crafting. She's telling me about life in this place. Wasn't paying attention. Sorry, you build stuff cool. Like it. This is a weird place. Okay. And now I'm getting closer. So I have all the ones down here, as it turns out. The ones that I don't have are over here. Do I have to put materia on any of my stuff? No. Well, let's see. I'm purposely not putting materia on the like this thing because it's not going to last. I know it's kind of taking a hit for stats right now, but eh. Alright, let's see. It's a lot to keep up with. Oh, what I wanted to do was go to General Materia Extraction. Though I did just sell or destroy a lot of items that I most likely would have been able to extract materia from. I need to find a way to get intelligence materia and mind materia. I may have to trade for it, which is kind of dumb. But like definitely at this point in the game, because I've beaten expansions, so I've technically beaten this game a few times over, and in previous iterations I would have liked my max game characters to have mind or intelligence materia for their stats. I've been using determination, which is a broad stat that will always improve your damage. So the thing about intelligence or mind, intelligence increases magic attack strength for magic DPS, and mind increases magic attack strength for healers. I say attack strength, what I mean is it also increases heals. So it just increases strength. More so than determination, which is a broad stat that will always increase your strength, but because it always increases strength, it's like lesser than. So you want to prioritize intelligence or mind. I'm a little bit different. Maybe this is not optimal and people will be like, blah. But I also don't completely agree with what people say all the time. So like one thing, spell speed. I don't prioritize spell speed, but I also do throw it into things. So I prioritize it more than other people who would just be like, throw mind into everything you can, and then what you can't, you throw in some other things, maybe some piety. But okay, here's the breakdown. Mind absolutely should be good, because that's just your overall strength. And I'm talking a healer now. So no matter the class, your attack stat should be pretty high. Only exception are tanks should focus on their health stat, their defensive stats a little bit more. So their defense stats should be highest, and then it'd be their attack stats. But that said, for like everything else, you want to focus your attack stat, because for healer that's also your heals, the size of your heals. For DPS that's how much damage you're freaking doing. So yes, and then you want to do the primary one, and the secondary one, determination, would be like after that. It's sort of like you don't super prioritize it, but you want it up there just to help augment this if you can't get the primary one. And then you want, well, for healer, piety. For magic DPS, it doesn't matter. PD is literally only MP regeneration. For healers, and having a good piety can put you in a spot where sometimes your basic rotation, like of using your basic attack spells, and even heal spells, will not cost you mana. You can do it literally all day if you have a good piety. And that's really all you need. Like, if you start to drain because you're using the more advanced ones, can't really fight that. Having a high piety will help you recover, but if you're at a point where you can do your basic stuff without it costing you too much, you're in a really good spot. You don't even necessarily need to do that, but I would say not bad if it happens. But I wouldn't try to build for that. I would just try to have decent piety so I can get things back when I need it, and if I use lucid dreaming when I'm around half, I want to get back up to full, because otherwise than that you can be in a pretty risky spot. Okay, and then spell speed, which this game says healers spell speed, whatever. Magic DPS wants it more. And the thing is, like, yeah, magic DPS definitely wants it, like especially black mages. Red mages, they have dual cast, so it's a little less important, but it's always nice because it helps you get off your initial cast just that much faster. Materia vendor. Oh, yeah! And I can trade... Oh, I can trade these things for... Okay. Piety, Battle Dance, Quick Ton, Heaven's Eye. These are not things I care for. Gathering, don't care for gathering. Craftsman, where is the ones that increase bind? I swear I saw them at some points. I'm not seeing them right now. They are hard to find. Okay. But gemstone. Weird. Okay, let's go to this Aethernet. I like how this stream has just been me running around talking. But yeah, that's sort of how this is. Okay, we have just one more to get, which is super important. But it's like over in this area that I'm not sure I can do. Bless me. Okay. I don't even know what I was talking about. Oh yeah, spell speed. The thing is, though, and anybody who's a healer will tell you, okay, yeah, I got them all, so now I can teleport to a few special locations that you normally can't. I mean, there's no aether crystals there. Okay, but I did it all. Good job, me. So, spell speed for a healer, don't need to super focus on, but what you want is that's decent. Pretty much the biggest challenge as a healer, especially white mage. The other healers also have to worry about MP regeneration. And it's not that white mage doesn't, but white mage tends to be the best with it, and it's not too difficult. Like I was saying, I was at a point that I could do my rotation no problem. And I should specify, that's for a white mage. The other ones might be a little bit more difficult to pull that off, and that is okay. That's not necessarily what you need to aim for. But what you want is your spell speed. You do want to throw that on, because the biggest issue... Wow, I'm repeating myself. But yes, the biggest issue for a healer is time management. And that's for all healers. Because at the end of the day, you need to make sure that your heals are getting off at the best time, because you have casting times. You have to make sure that your heals get to them to keep them from dying, or if you have to res, you have to make sure that happens in time. I mean, it seems pretty basic. There is a little bit of a lag for when you do things and then when you can do things again, because you have that global cooldown. So you need to optimize when you use things for your time economy. And that's the true struggle as a healer. And that said, spell speed helps with that. And there's a maximum potential that you can get out of spell speed. Because in theory, if you lower the spell speed below 2 seconds, I want to say, it's around 2.5 seconds. I haven't paid too much attention. But if you lower it below the global cooldown, it's like, okay, cool. You don't have to do much more than that. In fact, I would say you don't even necessarily have to do that. The reason being, you still have to wait that global cooldown. Like, no matter how much more you increase the spell speed at that point, it's diminishing returns because you still have to wait the global cooldown. You're not helping yourself, besides being able to get the heals off in a quicker manner, so it can be like, oh crap. Which, yeah, I guess there's some validity to that, but it's not a whole lot useful. I'm sorry, did he say Tron? What did he call me? Lucky for me, I can just look at the log. Merchant stuck. Tron herself. Oh, okay, yeah, because this is a different world, so the things have different names. Cool. I'm actually in Aura. Ra. Must be a dialect I'm not familiar with. But yeah, the races are just a tad bit different. They're very similar, though. For all things. That's all I want is an elf. Wait a minute, stop auto-advancing. Just disable. I want to read what he's saying. Let's straighten this out. See those two in front of us? The shorter one is a helm. Okay, so I think that was a human. Taller one is an elf. The sturdy individual over there is a gladiant. Well, that's a word. What's the one of the horns is a Tron, like you. So yeah, it's just a difference. And that, I actually don't remember what the Giants race is called in the regular world. And then you have that. And then you have the large scaly chaps with long tails and neck for raising livestock. This would be the Zun, which is weird. Because the Magi aren't even allowed in towns. They're beast tribes, which is apparently not the name you know them by. Now I'm curious to blank. Virginia. Say, oh dear, stop advancing so fast. Now we got to the same. Well, that explains it. Well, you don't get much further fun than that. We've had a few of your lot pass through in the recent years, and despite their obvious learning, they're floundered over the simplest thing. Recent years? Wait a minute. Does that mean time flows differently? So, my friends were only gone, like, a few days. Maybe it's been years in the other world, but I don't think so. I think this has been in the span of, like, a few days, maybe weeks at best. But now he's telling me it's years, so I think there's a bit of this time thing going on, which would make sense, because when I was summoned before, it only seemed like the conversation went on for a few minutes in that plane, but when I got back, I had been rescued from a fight that I was in, and had been like at least hours, so it would make sense if time flows different. Enable text auto advance. Yes, but slow down, please. But do not worry. Should you find yourself confused by local language customs, she'll be here to answer your questions. Okay. So now I'm learning all about this new world. It's cool, and honestly, I can see where the person is coming from. Well, it's nice that they created their own world for this instead of just leaning into nostalgia. It could also be fun exploring worlds from previous Final Fantasy games and Final Fantasy XIV. Like, that just would be fun too. It'd be nice to run around and I could just run into Zidane and things. But I could also see the counter argument being that those characters would very much steal the show for some fans of the series, as opposed to the characters in 14 being as prevalent. For me, not so much. I've only really played 9, haven't played much of the other ones. This is the guy who summoned me, by the way. Yep, they sure did. I have to give them stuff. There you go. Most thorough introduction. I understand it was something of a chore, but it is necessary that you grasp things before you proceed. Yep. No. The Crystal Tower is the boundary between worlds. That makes sense. Also a nice way to loop things around. I could open up this gear coffer. It's not going to be better than the Poetics gear, which I should be getting. Let's see. What is my currency? That's still my priority with this character. It's just to go back and do Stormblood raids. There we go. Because the Poetic gear is going to be vastly better than anything. For at least half of this expansion, it seems, if it holds true what it did for Heaven's Word. The Poetics gear helps carry you through. That way you don't feel instantly depowered. Like, I played so long, I did all the grinding, and now I just enter this new expansion and everything's moot, I'm wearing crap again. If you get the Poetics gear, which doesn't require you to grind a bit for that character, it usually carries you through about halfway of the expansion. The drawback being you can only get the Poetics gear when the new expansion is released. So there's no Poetics gear for the end of this. You have to do raid farming and stuff like that. I think another drawback is it's better than the raid gear, so you farming all that raid gear and then you're like, oh crap, I enter this new expansion, I can't even. But as your farming raid gear, you get Poetics too, which you'll just be saving up. Unfortunately, you can't get a full set of gear, but you can save up enough that you can be like, okay, I'm just going to get most of the gear I can, and this should help me through a chunk of this. Done as requested and learn something in the world. Nice. Okay. Oh, they said a second then? Okay. I really like how my white mage looks though. She's cute. She's a little cutie patootie with a booty. I feel awkward that I said that. My friend said after he gets home he'll check out the stream, but he's not here right now because he's a jerk. I was just checking my phone. I do like the Pelico. Kind of. I think that it's a little bit of a weird walk cycle in this game. And I think my Moogle just suits me better, so I'm going to put that black out. I was just flexing for my friends, be like, yeah, I did the Monster Hunter thing. Which, by the way, not a huge fan of. Only because it's in a game with a like global cooldown combat system where you do your commands, and it's not fluid like Monster Hunter. And plus, I was magic DPS, which the fight's just not designed for that. So I'll give it that. Maybe if I was playing melee DPS or physical DPS, physical range, where you can run around and attack, it would be better. The issue is that you fight Rathalos, and Rathalos has a lot of big attacks that aren't really, well, they're telegraphed. They don't have like the AoE circles, so you just have to learn them. Kind of like if you're playing Monster Hunter. Cool beans, but this is a game where you have a command-based system. So, like, it's not actiony. It's not as actiony, so you just feel like, well, this is kind of cheap because it's kind of playing like it does in Monster Hunter, but I'm not following the same rules. Also, healers just get fire trucked in that fight because you get mega potions, but what happens to healers is they can no longer heal. So I don't like that mechanic. I get that they're trying to do the whole Monster Hunter thing, but it's like, just make it so like maybe healers could make potions so they could still do their role. Otherwise, you just feel like crap as a healer in that fight. It's like, I am a weaker DPS.
Ocular, my private study.
Holy crap.
Here without fear of being overheard.
This was not the voice I was expecting from you.
But the truths which I must touch upon in doing so would cause only distress and confusion to the people of this world. Pray keep that in mind.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now,
Your world's dying.
I am sure you are desperate to know the fate of your fellow scions.
I am.
To put it simply, they are here in the first. Their arrival, however, was not as recent as you may imagine. Here, time flows at a different pace from that of the source.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
In the space of a single hour in your home world, an entire year might pass in the first, and the reverse could also be true. The pace fluctuates without rhyme or reason, and it cannot be predicted.
Okay, I'm pausing here just to give myself a second to think about this. So I was right, but it kind of goes back and forth. So sometimes time advances quicker here than it does in my home world, vice versa. That's kind of interesting. I like that as a concept. It makes it very confusing, because maybe right now it's like, okay, it's not advancing as fast, so when you get back, we're all good. But From the looks of it, it looks like time is advancing slower here at the moment.
That said, we seem to be entering a period of near equivalence. And thus, for the moment, you need not overly concern yourself with the passage of time.
Okay.
As for your companions, however, Y'shtola and Urianger have dwelled here for 3 winters, all told, while Thancred's count stands at 5.
Oh, crap.
Our more recent arrivals, Alphino and Alize, have lived in the first for almost a year.
Dang.
My intention had been to summon only you, but the art of reaching across worlds has proven exceedingly difficult to master. Thus it was that my fumbling hand closed upon those to whom your fate is most closely bound. As they were not the object of my summons, their transference was incomplete. Though they may appear to possess corporeal bodies, they are in truth merely spirits that one can see and touch. Consequently, while you yourself will be able to pass between worlds with relative freedom, they will not. Much as it grieves me, they are stranded here, unable to return.
Oh. But I did like how they explained why I can go back freely, too. Oh, which one should I ask? No, both are kind of important. I'd like to know what they've been up to. I'd also like a way to send them back. Though that doesn't seem helpful at the moment, because it's like, I'm sure he'd love to. It's like, great, let's figure out, how do we send them back? Can you send people between worlds? So they'd be like, no, and he's like, yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah, I'm going to go with this one. Just because the top one doesn't seem productive. We'll find a way to be able to send us all back.
We spent every waking hour searching for a way to reverse the summoning. In the beginning. As you may have surmised, however, our efforts met with little success. And then we all but abandoned the endeavor once Urianger shared with us the vision he had witnessed during his journey through the rift.
Oh.
In that chaotic no-man's land between realms, time and space warp and blend in unexpected ways. What Urianger saw was the future.
Mm-hmm.
That which would one day come to pass.
That makes sense.
In his vision of tomorrow, the first was rejoined with the source.
Okay.
This collision of worlds brought about the 8th umbral calamity and the deaths of countless multitudes.
Okay.
Amongst those who perished, Urianger clearly saw the fall of the Scion's mightiest champion. He watched you die.
Okay. I'm like, oh crap.
And thus did the Scions embrace their exile, and began searching this world for a means to forestall the coming catastrophe in yours. Their souls are stranded in the first, yes, but they have fought on, desperate to save their home and you from destruction.
Oh.
Nor have their efforts been in vain, for it was they who finally established that the elimination of the Sin Eaters will indeed serve to prevent the calamity.
Okay.
Considering these circumstances of our meeting, you would be forgiven for doubting my version of events. And so, before all else, I would suggest you track down your comrades and hear the tale from their lips. I shall of course be happy to assist in these reunions, and you need not make any decisions regarding your involvement until you are certain of where you stand. Meanwhile, I promise I will not rest until I have found a way to help your friends return home. What say you? Have I earned your trust for the moment, at least?
I got a chat message. Hasn't popped up for me yet. Where is it? Show me the chat message. I've still not seen it. I'm sorry. Maybe if I refresh. Thank you. I'm sorry I can't see your message. Okay, refreshed. That didn't help. Great. Can I just... live chat? Yeah, that one. Shit makes me want to play. Hey there, buddy. Dude, yeah. By the way, spoilers. I would Shadowbringer. But yes. This is a lot of fun. And yeah, I do trust this guy. I'm not gonna lie. It's all good, OMG. Awesome. How was your day and stuff? But yeah, for the moment, you've earned my trust.
Excellent. You will not regret this.
I mean, I don't have much of a choice, but yeah.
We'll have to see about getting you ready for the road.
Oh no.
Traveling across the rift has no doubt left you weary.
Oh no, what?
I will arrange for a room where you might rest in comfort.
Huh.
While it's being prepared, perhaps I can show you around.
Yeah. I'm excited to have a room in this universe thing. The Crystarium boasts the number of resident districts, but I have informed the room it's just become available at the Penance, which, as it turns out, is perfect. Path will take us past the markets, and I was hoping to give you an introduction to their wares. Come along. Sure thing. My phone might die, but I want to stop by at least. Oh, spoilers. Yeah. That's so good. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah. I realized after I was like, hey, watch this, that I was like, oh yeah, that's going to be a lot of spoilers. So I get it if you might necessarily kind of want to not watch it at the moment. Spoilers. And the story is, honestly, really good. It picks up after A Realm Reborn. Heaven's Word was okay. It felt like a filler arc. Stormblood was bloody amazing. And so far this is good. I still like Stormblood a little bit better. But, well, no. They're pretty much about the same in terms of quality. I do think the whole darkness thing's a bit eh. But that's about it.
This is the Musica Universalis,
Word.
the commercial heart of the Crystarium. What you might need to prepare for your journeys can be purchased here.
Okay. Why do they call it Musica? It's a bit of a weird name.
Ah, yes. You must be curious about the currency. Fear not. The gil you carry will serve you well enough.
What? That's craziness. How?
Each nation once minted its own coins, but 'twas all a jumbled mess following the flood. After much debate, the local merchants eventually elected to revert to the old ways, wherein a coin's value was decided by the worth of its metal.
Thanks, buddy.
As for a unit of measurement, we agreed upon the term gil, a word borrowed from coins uncovered within the Crystal Tower here. And as our traders peddled their wares across the land, so too did our usage of gil become common practice.
Okay.
From what your stola tells me, a standard coin from the source equates to exactly 1 gil here, or near enough not to matter. Our way of life has benefited greatly from the artifacts we recovered from the tower, some of which may be familiar to you.
What is that? It's a phone. I have one of those. I'm like, Why are you shaking your head, girl?
But I fear it would not be practical for us to provide everything to which you are accustomed. You shall need a means to access the commodities of your homeworld. Avan Kerm Sin?
Yes, I'm here. Of course I'm here. What amusements do you have for me today?
Oh crap, you're freaky. Holy crap, you're even freakier.
My dear Feo Ul, paragon of pixie kind. For you, I have the most vital task.
Dance with me.
This fine lady is a friend from a distant realm.
Why, thank you.
And we
Hi.
have need of a means to ferry things back and forth from her home. Might you be able to assist us in this matter?
You came from beyond, didn't you? From beyond the rift.
I sure did.
How wonderfully exciting. What a brave and reckless and marvelous thing you did. You've the heart of a pixie, you do.
Do I?
After careful consideration, I have decided to grant you my assistance. Make a pact with me and the fun can begin.
Okay.
But answer me this, traveler. Did your garments come with you when you crossed over? Your teeth? Your nails?
Yeah.
Just as I thought! Then you've a good stout connection with your home through which all your belongings, great and small, may easily pass.
Oh, heck yeah.
From this moment forth I will be your Isne Fis, and you my Sne Yak. Like the branch which sprouts from the sapling, our bond will flow unbroken from one to the other.
Great, I have a Navi.
Raise your hand.
Okay. I'm raising my hand, just do it. I'm scared. As long as you don't go, hey, listen to everything, we're good. I actually didn't mind Navi, but I can also see
We are bound now, dearest sapling.
why she would be annoying.
Make your request. Tell me your desire. I wish to visit this world of yours.
Mayhap her message to your friends in the Source to inform them of your safe arrival.
Oh, okay, I have to send a message to one or the other. I'm sorry, Totoro. Like, you are reliable. It's not so much that. I like how that's the thing I go to. That's like one of the things that she's worried about. She's really good with bookkeeping and stuff like that. And I'm... Well, she's also the one being like, hey, you go. Maybe I should tell Totoro. I'm thinking about it. Just kind of worried that I want to freak her out with a fairy. And Krilly? That's not her name. Forgot how to pronounce it. Anyways, she is used to magic and things, so she would just be like, oh, yeah, I got this. Word. But I feel like I owe it to Totoro to be like, hey, I'm safe and sound. Because she's like, I'm going to be so worried, please tell me everything's okay as soon as you can. So, yeah, you go do that.
Consider it done.
As you heard, that was Feo Ul of the Pixies. Their kind possess an affinity for magic akin to that of arcane beings.
Hey, I'm an arcane
They rarely
being.
show themselves in populated areas, but Feo is insatiably curious even by pixie standards, and seems to have taken a liking to the Crystarium. Right, we were going to
Word.
organize a room for you, weren't we? Come along.
Yes, I'd like a room to, like, be in. Like, none of the... Well, I'm not sure if the other expansions had an inn. I never saw one in places. It kind of looked. I always just went back to Gridania. As a result of your pact with Fail, you now have access to delivery moogles, market boards, and summoning bells all in the first. Okay, so now I can access those things. I do like how there's a lore explanation. Though I will say, kind of rough playing this game again. This game is beautifully designed for the most part, having one character. Like, there are some things that are like, okay, why do I need a tutorial for dyeing my clothes? But it's okay. They're trying to tutorialize things, so you know, all that good stuff. And doing it once through, usually not bad. Trying to do it again, oof. Like, honestly, I have a second character, which I just like them design-wise, but I don't think I could just play through a Realm Reborn again. A little rough. I might get a story skip, at least for a Realm Reborn. Maybe even Heaven's Word. Heaven's Word was a decent story, but it's like a long grind. Or just a long time playing. Oh, there you are. Let's just finalize the matter. Okay. Going to stop reading. Just because I haven't really been reading it. Holy crap, it's already been an hour? I haven't really done much besides story, but that's sort of what I promised. I don't know. I would love to share this game with you guys. Like, thinking about it. I don't know, they're not my most popular things. Though I'm sure if I did this more often, yes. I guess I have to think about that, because what is my channel? Does my channel focus on? What should I focus on? Because I like games, but the games I like the most are multiplayer. Like, MMOs is probably my favorite genre, in the sense that it's multiplayer. I get to just hang out with people, and being sociable, even though I'm kind of doing this solo right now, the ability to be sociable in this universe is a big driving force for me. Single player games are less engaging just because I feel like I'm wasting my time a little bit more. This, I'm not just playing a game, I can also socialize and play the game. Well, that said, I still like single player games. I do really need to have a focus, so it's something I will think about, because if this was like my focus, I'd just do it more, we go through the story. But as it is, I'm still playing this on my own, and thus this will be a little bit disconjointed if I do stream this again. And I apologize for that for people who like it. And I'll think about what I want to do with the channel and Let's Playing and what will work best for me. I think ultimately I just like variety a little bit too much. But, yeah. Alright, now I'm just kind of running around, not doing much of anything. I should call a stream here soon, but we'll call it when I get my new room. Yes. I really don't have much of a reason to go back to the old worlds. Unless I just want to visit. I'm like, I'm gonna look out here. It's weird because it's probably nighttime right now, though it might not be. You can't tell. Imagine if it was just 24/7 no sunlight. It happens here. What? You. Oh, this guy.
I know you. You're the warrior of light from the source.
this guy is the Warrior of Darkness, who is talking about how his world was being drowned in light, being burned away. Makes sense that he'd be from here. Also, yes, great tie-in. Just, I am definitely of the methodology of a writer. Whenever you're introducing new plot points, and this is specifically for very long-going like series or franchises, when you're doing new things, you should use old characters and old set pieces as much as you can. Because obviously, you do want progression. You want things to go forward. So it might be like you go to a new place. But having things that are old thrown in there makes it have continuity, makes it feel more rewarding for people going back, because they can be like, oh my god, this character was actually a thing. Stuff like that. And it's less like it's pulled from your ass than if you just make up a new thing. Kind of like if you kept on making up new powers for a superhero in order to solve issues. Like a lot of the old comics did that. I noticed an Iron Man literally had a tool for every situation, which I feel partially is just because the Iron Man couldn't fail. There was a period of time where they felt like if the superhero failed, it would not go over well. So, like, Iron Man was never threatened, but he was always pulling out a new thing. Like, I'm going to scramble your suit there, Iron Man, with EMP. Oh, look at this. I have anti-EMP just right here. So, I just felt created on the spot. Which sometimes you do create something new. Because that's just the virtue of having new. But that should never be the case. They should always use something old to resolve a conflict. It's like, I'm going to use anti-EMP. It's like, oh, this lead shielding or whatever I always have, because I've always had it, like, will protect me, kind of a thing. Wow, that's a really poor explanation. The point being, and that, I guess, is a more specific example, for powers and things, should always be using established stuff to resolve a conflict. But in terms of, like, stories, using old characters and set pieces will, like, strengthen your story and make it more engaging, make it have continuity, and make it so people looking back were like, oh yeah, that's a thing. But even there, while it might be less important than, say, like, having a conflict resolved with old abilities or gadgets that are established, so it doesn't feel like you're just making it up on the spot, having what is it, plot? Yeah, there we go. Plot that is advanced via old characters that have already been established makes it feel like it's less created on the spot. Your world is a world that exists. Okay, that was a very long rant. I wasn't expecting. This has just been toasty talk about things this stream. But I like that. No, I remember this guy. This is the Warrior of Darkness. He's very dumb.
Did you just... You can hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, gods, how long has it been?
Oh, dear. Have you not been able to be heard or whatever? That's actually really sad.
That was what I called myself in your world. The Warrior of Darkness. My real name is Ardbert. I use an alias in the source. A daft one, looking back.
At least you acknowledge it. Honestly, I hated these guys. I thought they were just so cliche. I still kind of feel that, because it is a very common arc. I say very common, okay, maybe I've seen it like twice, and now I'm like, it's cliche. Fair enough. But besides that, I've seen this arc before, where if you have like a world thing, particularly prevalent in, say, Isekai, because for what it just makes sense. And Isekai, you're like, hey, there's one other world. Why aren't there more other worlds? So you have that, and then you have characters from another world showing up in your other world. And it's usually just done in a way to quickly establish a sympathetic villain, which is exactly how it was done in here, by the way, because you had these Warrior of Darkness. They show up as like, we're the Warriors of Darkness, and we're here to save our world. So that's the whole thing. Like, okay, they're antagonists, they're currently here to get in our way or like blow up our world, but they're sympathetic because it's like, dude, literally their entire world is about to be destroyed. People would go to rather extreme lengths for that. Cool. So I thought it was just cliche and kind of dumb because it's like, oh, we're the opposite of light because you're light, we're the darkness, we're the other side of the coin. I'm like, okay.
If you recall my tale, it was my comrades and I who caused the flood.
Right, because you're too much of the light, which I am too much of the light. Honestly, my death would probably be one of the better things. Damn, that's a really grim way of looking at it. But okay, let's accept the rules established by this universe. That too much light or too much darkness is not a good thing. Darkness will engulf all and end it, but too much light will engulf all and end it. So this guy was a warrior of light in his world. So, like I said, we're literally warriors of darkness. We're following his path. But same thing going on in my current world, where I am admittedly, helping save things, but, oh, my screen just freaked out on me. It does that sometimes on YouTube, I don't know why. Okay, but, like, what I was even saying? So, like, causing too much light in my world, so I am leading it towards a calamity. So me being pulled here is probably not bad, but it's like a thing where we'd have to let a little bit more darkness into our world, despite that maybe causing pain in some aspects, because if there's too much light, then that's just going to destroy everything. So, there you go. I am probably one of the worst things for my world at the moment, because while it's nice and all that I'm fighting for the light, like, that is causing things to tip too much in one, like, particular way. And also, something that I've always thought about, it's like I'm a warrior of light because Hyderon, or whatever, the god of light, chose me, like light crystals. But the thing is, the gods in this universe are created by people, by the things, by their worshippers. And it is seen time and time again that the primals, which are gods to the beastmen usually, but not even limited to them, the primals are gods like embodied by their believers. They're not necessarily real. They are just a mirror of what they believe. But their issue is they eat up a lot of the energy that creates the universe, aether. So having these primals summoned, they're always hungry for aether, and they're always going to drive the world into destruction, because they're literally eating the energy that makes it up. So I have always had the thought, even way back when, it's like, okay, I'm fighting for the light, I'm fighting these other primals, but I'm still fighting for a particular god or primal. So, and the same rules apply. If they get too big or strong themselves, are also going to destroy the world. So it's nice that they're touching on that. It's not just a thing that they said, it's like, oh, you're an exception because you're the good guy. It's like, not per se. You're not an exception because you're the good guy. The rules still apply to you. So you may be doing good things. You may be actively fighting to bring hope and goodness into the world. But that, in an extreme, is not necessarily a good thing.
We thought our home doomed. And so we listened to the Ascians. Let them guide us to the source. And tried to hasten their goddamned ardor.
Oh, poor guys.
I remember when we fell. Defeated by you and yours. I remember our audience with Minfilia. She listened to our pleas and returned our souls to the first. The flood was poised to swallow Northrend. Minfilia and my friends, they surrendered what little they had left to hold it back. Just faded away. Leaving me to bear witness.
Oh, damn.
Tell me, do you know the year? How much time has passed since we caused the flood? 100 years. 100 long years. My hands find no purchase. My gestures catch no eye, and my pleas, be they whispered or screamed, reach not a single ear. I am a shade, cursed to do naught but drift. I feel as if I've been walking forever. I hardly noticed when my mind and body began to fray at the edges. Then bang! My senses were sharp again. I felt like a fish being reeled in, and why is it that you can see me? What are you even doing here, come to that? You were summoned to save the first. A waste of time. This world is beyond saving. Like, muddled as my mind may be, I've not forgotten that. But if fate has brought me to you, the one person in this God's forsaken world who can see and hear me, then perhaps there is a reason I endured. If I can find out why I was left behind, then maybe I can bring this journey of mine to an end. Well, I'll be watching, Warrior of Light. But do me a favor. Be careful out there. This world has had its fill of heroes.
Damn. Now I'm in a bed. Just sleeping with all my clothes on. Which is perfectly fine for YouTube. I don't need to get, like, banned because there's naked ladies. Alrighty then. I have my new room. That was an interesting cutscene, a lot longer than I was expecting because I talked over it, but Then I just got quiet because I was like, wow. Okay, you know what? I'll say Shadowbringer has pleasantly surprised me. It's a lot of really just interesting stuff that they're doing with this whole Warrior of Light, Warrior of Dark thing. The Warrior of Light, Warrior of Dark thing specifically, I'm whatever about. But what they're doing with it, I guess, is interesting. It may just be my thoughts on it. But it definitely seems like the game did set it up that way. Alright, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you have a beautiful whatever, and stay amazing.